What topics specifically about people like myself, LGBTQ Floridians, are not appropriate to teach in the classroom? Is it topics about how LGBTQ people love one another? Is it topics about our marriages, which are legal in the United States and in Florida? Is it conversations about our families?
I ask that you not ask questions or answer questions in ways that are personal to other members. We've had a great substantive conversation today. Members have been talking about bill lines and places of the bill and questions. I ask that we keep our questions to the substance of the bill.
No party loves censorship more than the Republican Party. And in that case, you just watched Representative Guillermo Smith, who is Florida's first LGBTQ lawmaker, rightfully criticizing Florida's proposed Don't Say Gay bill. Now, House Speaker Chris Sprowls, the Republican, is the one who told him to, keep his questions to himself, because apparently those questions challenge what the GOP and the state want. They don't like being challenged, so they want to shut it down. I think it's worth watching the full exchange. Let's take a look.
What topics specifically about people like myself, LGBTQ Floridians, are not appropriate to teach in the classroom? Is it topics about how LGBTQ people love one another? Is it topics about our marriages, which are legal in the United States and in Florida? Is it conversations about our families? What part of conversations about people like myself are not age appropriate?
Members, this isn't a direct response to anything Representative Smith said, but I just want to caution all of us, because I understand we're having conversations where we all feel personally about the topics for a variety of different ways. I ask that you not ask questions or answer questions in ways that are personal to other members. We've had a great substantive conversation today. Members have been talking about bill lines and places of the bill and questions. I ask that we keep our questions to the substance of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, thank you for your guidance before. I'm going to do my very best to comply, to not make my questions personal. But the bill is deeply personal, and I'm trying my very best, Mr. Speaker.
So that, the video ends with him getting emotional, and it's a powerful video, especially because he's not only just standing up for himself, but standing up for all of these Floridians who will be victimized by this proposed legislation that, make no mistake about it, is being proposed only because the Republican Party has nothing to offer you. Nothing more than fear, nothing more than manufactured culture wars, which does end up hurting innocent people, okay, including people in their own state. But are they gonna make your life better economically? Of course not. They love the corruption, they love the greed, they love to rig economic system that they get to take advantage of. Are they gonna do anything to improve your life? No, but they will serve up fear, they will serve up this garbage. Like this Don't Say Gay bill, we've talked about it on the show before. It's more of the same that we've been seeing across the country. I mean, yesterday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott put out a directive indicating that parents with transgender children could be investigated if their children are suspected of having sex change operations, which doesn't even happen. It's a way of preventing transgender kids from maybe getting some of the medical help that they're looking for, things like that. It's just a way to sow fear and hatred among their constituents because they've got nothing else to offer. And my question to people who keep voting for these goons over and over again, do you feel better about your life? Do you feel good about yourself? Is this something that makes you feel like you're actually being led by people who have your best interests in mind? I just don't get it.
Okay, so.
And all politics is personal. Don't give me that garbage. All politics is personal. You know why? Because politics is about policy, it's about leadership, it's about decisions that impact your life, especially on a local level.
Yeah. So let me be clear. First of all, is this personal? Yeah, they're saying there's something wrong with you, and we don't want our kids even knowing about people like you. It is the definition of hate. And what's particularly galling, guys, is that they then say, hey, but don't ask the other representative who would like to ban your existence anything personal about his opinions, because it might offend him. I wouldn't have listened to a word of that. I understand that he's got to abide by different rules, and I love that brother for giving the speech that he gave, right? But then they ask us for tolerance.
Yeah.
Then they ask us for tolerance. Shut up.
It's worse than that, though. The Republican lawmaker there who shut it down, he's a coward, right? Because you're endorsing this legislation. So why don't you be a tough guy and explain in his face why it is that you think that this is answer his questions. If you're championing legislation, you should be ready and willing to answer any and all questions about it. You should be able to stand up for it. But he shut it down because he's a coward and he doesn't want to have to answer those questions.
So that chair might, I don't know what his position on this bill is.
He's the speaker, I think.
Yeah,
right?
so but that guy thinks, offending every gay person in the state is irrelevant. I don't know them, they have no power, and I hate them. They're at a best case scenario, no matter how he's voting, he thinks all of you are irrelevant, okay? But you're questioning one of the elites? One of the people in this esteemed institution? How dare you, dear sir? Don't make this personal. Okay, Republicans that vote for things like that hate gay people. Why are we having a debate? And because the right wing will say, I don't want to ban anyone learning from something as terrible as being gay, but I'm not anti-gay, and let's have a debate about it.
But I think what's transpiring among Republicans across the country, whether it be these anti-CRT crusades, the Don't Say Gay bills, the anti-trans proposals, all that stuff, it's even worse because do a lot of these Republican lawmakers hate the disenfranchised groups that I just mentioned? Yeah, I think that they do. But I think that there's a significant portion of them who are actually pretty indifferent to these groups. But what they do, because they have no other choice, like they have no other option, they have nothing else to offer up to their constituents. They have nothing to use to pander to their constituents. So what they do is they choose people who are powerless, people who have been discriminated against historically, people who have been treated poorly in society. They literally go after the most powerless people in order to fearmonger and pander to their constituents. Whether they hate them or not is irrelevant. They use them, they exploit them for their own political purposes. A lot of the garbage that takes place among the Republican Party, especially when it comes to taking rights away from people, is about pandering to the worst elements of society because that's the only thing they can do. That's all they can appeal to. What else are they gonna offer up? Policies that would actually improve your lives? No, they're not gonna do that. That would actually take courage. That would actually take leadership. That would take a spine. And the very so-called strongmen, the tough guys who claim that they're so tough and we're gonna protect national security, we're gonna do this and that. They can't even stand up for their own garbage legislation. They have to shut down questions about it.
And he's right, that representative's right. Say what's wrong with him, go ahead, say it. You don't get to ban teaching about gay people at all. You don't get to wipe away their existence, then come around and go, no, I don't wanna be put on the record and say what's wrong with you, because then I'll seem like a bad guy. You know why? Because you are a bad guy, and anyone who puts a Republican in power is a bad guy. Right now, the entire party is toxic, filled to the rim with bigots, homophobes, and racists, and they pass laws like that day in and day out. And by the way, if you're not if you're not in the LGBTQ community, you know what we do as progressives and decent people? We fight for someone we don't know. You fight for our brothers and sisters. You fight for our gay brothers and sisters. We fight back together. We don't ever let these monsters deny our existence, no matter who we are on this side. We stick together, we fight together, and we don't accept the conventional wisdom in America, which is you can say anything you want about minorities, you can say anything you want about the left, you can say anything you want about people that have no power. But if you ever say something about the powerful, you're offending people, you're making it personal. I don't give a damn. Yes, I'm making it personal. You're a terrible person if you believe that. A terrible person.
And just to add weight to what you're saying, Cenk, about how this is what the Republican Party is. This is pretty breathtaking. More than 170 anti-gay or anti-LGBTQ bills have been proposed by the Republican Party, by conservative state lawmakers last year, and already surpassing last year's 139 in total. At least 69 of them centered on school policies, according to Freedom for All America. So they've been tracking this. So again, more than 170 anti-gay bills in less than 2 months since the start of this year.
So in 2 years, over 300 anti-gay bills, all by Republicans, the party of hate.